Off on Dalal Street, Sensex lost over 1,000 points and the Nifty lost over 326 points as stocks declined across the world. Both major indices have lost 2% this week. All sectoral indices ended in the red with 48 out of 50 Nifty stocks declining in trade. Prashant Nair is here with the market wrap.
Finally, global pressures bore down on the market here as well, and the index ending sharply lower. For the week, it's not too bad given the magnitude of the fall that we saw on Friday, that is today. For the week, the Nifty was down about 1.7% or so. But some would say it's been coming for a while. The question is what happens. I'll get to that in a bit. Let me just quickly wrap out the day. Market breadth was deeply in the negative, 4:1, declines to advances ratio. So 4 stocks down for every 1 stock which was higher. Broader markets under pressure as a result. The mid-cap and the small-cap parts of the market were down and out. It was a broadly down day. So on the Nifty, names like UPL, Tata Consumer were top losers. IT stocks are finding absolutely no relief, not even bounces. Tech Mahindra, Infosys continue to sell off. Cement names, which did well in the last 2 sessions, also corrected. Ultratech, Grasim cases in point. And autos, which have been such a strong part of the market, lost as well. Hero MotoCorp, Mahindra and Mahindra, Tata Motors were down. Broader market pressure, of course, quite evident. So tire stocks, which had made big moves yesterday, they mostly all gave up those gains. Vedanta, where there has been a bit of a flip-flop from the management in terms of where the investment in that semiconductor unit is going to come through from. Markets are not like that. That got punished. Names like DLF, Astral, well-traded large names came under a bit of pressure as well. The point is, there has been this decoupling drumbeat which is carried on, and the markets have rallied quite a bit, even as global markets continue to be under pressure. Next week is an important one. Middle of the week, we get the FOMC decision where, by most estimates, we will get a 75 basis point hike from the US Federal Reserve. So will we enter a phase of consolidation and then come out of it one way or the other post the FOMC? That seems to be the most likely scenario. Back to you.
Right. Thanks, Prashant, for joining us. Now, the new CEO of global logistics major FedEx has warned of an impending worldwide recession. Raj Subramaniam spoke to CNBC's Jim Cramer after the company posted disappointing quarterly earnings. He said FedEx is seeing its revenue decline across all segments. He went on to say that the global shipments have been steadily falling over the past few months, and that does not bode well for the world economy.
Raj, are we going into a worldwide recession?
Well, I'm not an economist, but
you know more than economists. Come on, they don't. They just push papers. You actually look at papers.
Well, I think so.
You think we are going into a worldwide recession?
I think so. But again, these numbers don't portend very well.
U.S. in the last few weeks as bad as China in the last few weeks.
Yeah, the U.S. Consumer has definitely spending less, but the U.S. has been somewhat insulated because the U.S. dollar is the currency of choice for the world, and there's some insulation there. But I do see the U.S. is slowing down too.
Amid all the talk of a global slowdown, India remains a bright spot. JP Morgan remains bullish on the country's economy. JP Morgan's India top brass spoke to Lata Venkatesh, and they expect India to outperform despite high oil prices and weak global sentiment.
Economies that is decoupled, or at least believed to be decoupled from the troubles of others. And a lot of investors mechanically went underweight India early in the year. Because for 20 years, Lata, the lesson we've learned is that you should sell India when oil prices go up. Right? It's worked almost every time. This is the first instance where Indian equities have outperformed despite higher oil prices. And what is happening now is that people are getting pulled into looking at India because it's outperformed.
Because we haven't got a recession, the disinflation may not be as large globally as we had wished and hoped. So you look at the last CPI number in the US, core CPI goes 0.6% month on month. What that means is central banks will have to be more aggressive. India's growth prospects are strong. I think medium-term prospects have been strong for a while. The geopolitics, the fact that, we're friendshoring, China +1. China is vacating so much space in the labor-intensive export markets of the world, textiles, gems and jewelry. This is our opportunity, and people see that over the next 5 years.
Shifting focus to the crucial international event in Uzbekistan. It was day 2 of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. Leaders of 8 nations, including India, China, Pakistan, Russia, assembled for a roundtable. It was also decided that India will host next year's SCO Summit. While addressing the leaders, Prime Minister Modi said he wants to transform India into a manufacturing hub. He didn't have any bilateral talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping, but he did hold a meeting with Russian President Putin. He said Russia and India should find ways to address the problems of food, fuel, security and fertilizers. He also thanked Russia and Ukraine for helping in the evacuation of Indian students from Ukraine. President Putin said he's aware of India's position and concerns on the conflict in Ukraine. He further said, and I quote, "We want all of this to end as soon as possible. We will keep you abreast of what is happening there." End of quote.
हम भारत को एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब बनाने पर प्रगति कर रहे हैं। भारत का युवा और प्रतिभाशाली वर्कफोर्स को मैं स्वाभाविक रूप से कॉम्पिटिटिव बनाता है। इस वर्ष भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था में 7.5% वृद्धि की आशा है, जो विश्व की बड़ी इकोनॉमीज में सबसे अधिक होगी।
The SCO Summit in Samarkand has just concluded, where all the member countries discussed and deliberated the issues of global and regional importance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while addressing the summit, highlighted the issues of current global context. He said that the food crisis should have a long-term and sustainable solution, and producing better varieties of grains and millets could also become part of that solution. He also highlighted that transit routes across SCO member countries should be allowed to be accessible to all member countries, so that more people-to-people engagement and trade can be pursued on that route. A bilateral conversation with President Putin, his Turkish counterpart, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and his Iranian counterpart, Ibrahim Raisi. Those meetings will clearly pave way for India's larger and broader engagement at world geopolitics. Next year, India is going to be the host of SCO Summit. We'll have to see how the contours of these multilateral discussion will define and prepare a background when India will be hosting the summit next year.
All right. Thank you very much, Abhishek, for joining us and summing up the Samarkand, Uzbekistan SCO Summit. Let's move on to Vedanta now. The company has clarified that its proposed semiconductor project with Foxconn would be undertaken by its holding company Vulcan Investments and not the listed entity. The clarification comes days after Anil Agarwal, perhaps inadvertently, told us in an exclusive that the listed entity will fund the Vedanta Foxconn JV. Holcim Group has completed its India divestment. The Swiss group has closed the sale of Ambuja Cement and ACC to the Adani Group, resulting in cash proceeds of $6.4 billion. Gautam Adani has been named non-executive director on the boards of both companies, and he will also be the chairman of Ambuja. His son Karan Adani has been elevated as the chairman of ACC, and he will be a director on the board of Ambuja Cement. Adani Group overtakes the Tatas in terms of market cap, becoming India's biggest company as per market cap. Not just that, Adani Group chairman Gautam Adani has jumped to the second spot of the world's richest people in the Forbes Billionaire Index. On to some big corporate voices. In an exclusive interview to CNBC, chairman of the Hinduja Group, Ashok Hinduja, revealed that apart from automobiles, the company is focusing at expanding its footprint in the banking and financial services space. He added that going digital and making new electric vehicles is the future.
We are in 11 sectors of businesses. Our focus is more on auto, which is our flagship company here. Ashok Leyland. Our focus is more on banking and financial services. So we are now bidding for other NBFCs, insurance companies. So we are focusing more investment targets here.
Right.
And future is digital, future is new EVs.
The government's industrial research wing, probing whistleblower complaints of EV companies violating norms to avail subsidies, have started visiting factories. Inspections are on to check if subsidized products were indeed made in India or not. So this is a story that we have been tracking very closely, and this is coming in the backdrop of the DHI stopping FAME subsidies to Hero Electric and Okinawa and a few other EV companies. And this is the result of a probe that revealed that the products that these companies had availed subsidies for were not actually made in India. So the subsidies to these companies have been stopped for the last 2 to 3 months, and now ARAI teams are being sent to these factories to inspect the supply chain, inspect the import data, and see if there were violations of the phased manufacturing program. Let's move on to the aviation sector now, where domestic air traffic grew over 67% year-on-year for the period of January to August, with a little over 770 lakh passengers flying within the country. According to data released by the DGCA, domestic airlines carried over 101 lakh passengers in August, registering a monthly growth of 51%. Vodafone Idea has decided not to convert interest on its AGR dues for FY18 and FY19 into equity. The decision is crucial as the government is yet to take a call on converting the telecom's 16,130 crore accrued interest on AGR dues till FY17 into equity. The cash-strapped company has been struggling to retain customers. It lost over 15 lakh subscribers in July alone. Mankind Pharma has filed DRHP with market regulator SEBI for its initial public offering. According to Money Control, the pharma company is looking to raise more than 5,500 crore rupees, making it one of the biggest IPOs in the sector after Gland Pharma. Patanjali founder Ramdev says that they will be taking the 4 group companies public in the next few years, but does not give an exact time frame for the potential listings. Meanwhile, Patanjali Foods CEO Sanjeev Asthana emphasized on the growing competition in the FMCG space and said that the company is ready to expand in the market aggressively.
दूसरा क्रम रहेगा, इसमें पतंजलि आयुर्वेद और पतंजलि मेडिसिन, पतंजलि वेलनेस, ये कभी भी कोई भी कर सकते हैं हम, तो एक सीक्वेंस रहेगा, लेकिन एक साल में, डेढ़ साल में बड़े कीर्तिमान पतंजलि ब्रांड चढ़ता जाएगा और इसमें करोड़ों जो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं उनका जो भरोसा है उससे हमें बहुत बड़ी ताकत मिली है और आगे भी मिलेगी और हम उसको डिलीवर करेंगे. मैंने कहा हमेशा, लेस प्रॉमिस ओवर डिलीवरी.
There's a strong, array of companies which are there, and we are doing our own work. They do their own work, and the market is growing overall. So there's a lot of space and room for growth for all the companies. So irrespective, we'll be very supportive of everyone's effort, but we will continue growing ourselves quite aggressively.
All right, Patanjali Group unveiling their IPO plans. Moving on, the Enforcement Directorate carried out raids against some loan apps and seized over 46 crore rupees kept in payment gateways. EaseBuzz, Razorpay, Cashfree, Paytm. The investigation was related to the app-based token named HPZ and related entities. The Enforcement Directorate alleges fraudsters used the app to lure victims to invest in the company on the pretext of doubling their investment. After transferring part of the amount, the fraudsters stopped payments and the website became inaccessible. Government revises definition of small companies to reduce their compliance burden, tweaks threshold for paid-up capital to 4 crore from 2 crore rupees, among other measures. The turnover threshold has been increased to 40 crores from 20 crore rupees earlier. Finance Minister Sitharaman has once again urged corporates to increase representation of women in their boardrooms. Speaking at the BSE Women Directors Conclave, the FM said boards cannot continue to be a comfortable men's club. Speaking at length on the issue, the minister said, and I quote, "I'm not discouraging socialization among male members of boards, but it's a little difficult for women to be a part of." End of quote. She went on to say attempts to evade the mandate of including women in boards are being noticed and tracked by the government. She continued saying it's the responsibility of companies to ensure women are given leadership positions. Remember, according to a Deloitte survey, women hold just 17% of the boardroom seats in India against a global average of 19%.
Boards are quite happy welcoming another professional, a man. I wouldn't say they're unhappy having another professional, a woman, but it's more like you have to go there, you have to say, look, I'm at par with y'all, I know my stuff, I'm talking sense. Why do you need all those riders? Why do you need all those, preambles to your functioning? You wouldn't expect that of a man. It cannot be a comfortable men's club. You have to get in there. You have to get in there with your perspectives,
Time for a quick break, but coming up, India's index for industrial production is riddled with problems. A special report when we return.